Hello and welcome to Reanimated. Did you ever, H.A. Conrad, while I'm introducing you, did you ever call movie phone when you were a tender youth?
I don't know that I maybe I did, but I also very much perhaps have it conflated with the obvious Seinfeld episode where Kramer pretends to be Mr. Movie Phone.
Okay. I feel like I called it every weekend and it's still seared into my brain. I'm definitely dating myself here. But I would call this phone number and it would say, "Hello and welcome to Movie Phone."
Yep.
And then it would tell you what movies were playing near you and what time they were
No, I
playing.
did. I think I definitely did, but it feels like a long distant memory at this point.
It's funny, the things we remember from before the internet, and it's just
Yeah.
so
I
difficult to
mean,
even imagine.
okay, one thing that I was talking about with some people about our long ago college days was since nobody had mobile phones, you'd make a place to meet and you would meet, right? And then you would go together because it was more likely you would end up there together if you did that versus meeting somebody at a place, right?
Yeah.
Because of landline and nobody really had cell phones. So,
Like you wouldn't call a restaurant to be like, yeah, is there Jimmy there?
right.
I guess that could happen. That happens in movies all the time. I don't remember ever doing that or getting a phone call at a restaurant or a bar. It's just harder to get a hold of people.
Yeah. So just a different mindset
Yeah,
generally. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, but Mr. Movie th Phone, that was a thing for a while.
it
And you would have
was.
to wait. You would have to wait to because they would list like everything, or like you would try to key in the title of the movie, and it's if it overlapped with another movie, sometimes you would end up with the wrong one. So,
Yeah. So it's strange days.
yep.
Not as strange as the news we have this week, which is an article from Undead Walking, which is a fan, fan news site. It's like not necessarily a ironclad source, but it's from set photos that they've been poring over. And so their news is that Emily Kinney is confirmed, or at least was on set at Dead City season 3, potentially reprising her role as Beth Green plus 10 years.
Yeah.
What's your gut response to this, AJ Conrad?
I mean, obviously it has to be a flashback. I don't know how
How
they're
can
gonna.
it be a flashback if she's now 35?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. What are they gonna do with the aging? But maybe
It's
they.
it's like a dream sequence where she imagines as if Beth had never died. Yeah.
Well, maybe, but they're gonna probably have to use some anti-aging AI over her face or something,
No,
right?
I mean if they just play it like the easy way to me is like, oh yeah, and my sister's still alive and we've grown up and now we have like an extended family. Because honestly, Maggie's situation is kind of bleak. She has Herschel, and Herschel and her aren't getting
Mm.
along so well in the current version of the story. So if she were like daydreaming and imagining a world where obviously they can't bring Herschel back, her dad, um, but if she's imagining a world where her sister was still alive, you remember how many people were at that farm in season 2 at first? There were a lot.
There were a
There
lot of red shirts for sure.
and they were all related to her in one way or another, or at least were boyfriends of her sister and stepmoms and all this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a weird piece of news. Um, but I guess I could see a story reason for doing it. I'm just wondering how it's going to go. I don't know that Emily Kinney went back to acting. I thought she released an album.
Right.
Maybe she's done some acting too.
Maybe.
Anyway, it might be nice to see her. Maybe she'll sing a song.
I have a feeling she may.
Some Tom Waits.
Maybe. That would be great.
Oh, I mean, this though the showrunners here aren't Chambliss and Goldberg and are not as shameless about making anybody who has a remotely good singing voice sing on their show, a la Ka- Karen David and Ruben Blades
Hmm.
doing a duet, even though it made no sense given their characters. Like she was a nuclear physicist and he was an assassin from Panama. But they could sing together, the Traveling Wilburys.
Indeed. Indeed.
What a weird show. I'm glad we left it.
Hmm.
Um, okay, but today we're talking about a new show that we've decided to delve into, a Thai show called Zomvivor, miniseries, I guess you might call it. It's 7 episodes. Each episode is quite lengthy, though, about an hour.
Yeah.
Um, my elephant in the room for this Conrad, is that it is very reminiscent of an All of Us Are Dead,
Oh, it's definitely, and that was
except that
that
it's like
in my notes. I was like, oh, is this All of Us Are Dead in Thailand? Because that's
it's
what it
just
kind
that
of feels
it's like
like.
the higher learning version of it because they're in college and not in high
Yep.
school. Um, yeah, it feels it. My initial reaction is it's a little too reminiscent of All of Us Are Dead, and it doesn't do quite as good a job of introducing its mega bloated ensemble.
Right. And I mean, I see what they're trying to do, but um, even to the sort of like plot point of some internal conspiracy, something or other, which is causing whatever this outbreak is, like it really has a lot, it hits like almost all of those notes. And we're not seeing a lot of character development at all because they pretty much go right into everything. And that also makes it harder to differentiate the characters and the actors from each other. And even like there's a bunch of disparate groups kind of spread out throughout this college, and you get introduced very quickly, or even just in some cases, you just kind of see them. So it's a little hard to follow exactly what's going to happen. I'm sure they will all eventually converge, and that's fine. But even to the point of having one of the professors at the university somehow involved. I mean, it's a little bit different in sort of a way, and then but then there's like this bigger badder benefactor involvement somewhere else. So so there's those things, and then they also hit a slightly different type of relationship dynamic, but that's there too, between like the little triangle there between like the main character's name, Zan, and honestly, I do not know what the third
It's
guy's name is.
Yeen, Yeen is at least how the subtitles put that
Okay,
guy's name. But I didn't know that
but
that guy until halfway through the episode.
however, I will say I think that the choreography is really good. The effects are pretty good in terms of the zombies themselves. I also noticed that similar to the film that we watched, where it was it. Wait, which was it? One was it Siam with the rain
We've watched a few
on the zombies where they react to it. Was
w-
that Siam?
was that Ziam or Operation Undead?
That might have been Operation Undead. It was, yeah, I think it's Operation Undead. But in any case, it very similarly, they're reacting, the infected are reacting to the rain and all that kind of thing, which not in quite the same way, but it gives those feelings. So I just feel like a lot of this is a little derivative, but we're one episode in, so I don't want to, maybe it will get a lot better, but the positives are definitely like the choreography and the makeup and the effects. I think those are pretty successful.
I want to just react to something else you said already, which was that it jumps into the action very quickly in this pilot, and it's already kind of leaning on a little bit of flashbacks, which I really go back and forth on on whether I like that or not.
Yeah.
But because it jumps so quickly into the action, like that's the cold open is zombie apocalypse. It and if I'm comparing it with All of Us Are Dead, All of Us Are Dead, the zombie apocalypse does break out by the end of the first episode, like in full, but you have a lot of time spent with your characters and their mundane dramatic needs. Like Anjo doesn't like being named after a chicken restaurant, or
Right.
vice versa. He has a crush on this character. That the bully guy is a bully. Like we learn about these characters' flaws and their some of their essential traits before everything kicks off. And I think you were saying that, but I just want to like spell it out even more that we don't know these characters except for Zan is rich and his girlfriend is. I mean, we learned that through a flashback too. Like
Yep.
that's later in the episode. So yeah, I feel like if I were if I were to have my druthers, it would be to learn more about these characters before everything turns into chaos, which it does very, very fast. And then by the time we've got these little groups of kids running around, well, I guess they're adults if they're in college, running around this campus, there's 15 of them between the two main groups. And I don't know most of their names. Like we really just know Ning. Her
Yep.
brother is Non.
Yes.
Her her coworker who has a crush on her is Yeen, and we know that they're coworkers because they wear the same shirt. And then her boyfriend is Zan. And then do we really know any other characters? We meet Pal halfway through, but gosh, like there's and then one or two other characters become known to us as the show goes on, but it's pretty rough. Like
Yeah.
15 characters and we know four of them by name or five at most. Like, wow, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure we will see some, but like some expansion on some of this. And I also think obviously they're going to pick off a bunch of the people in these groups, but I mean it's there's a lot to follow at least and a lot of ground to cover at least in this episode, and I don't know that they necessarily did it fully successfully. There's also an attempt to kind of show like Neen as this as a leader and kind of going against the wishes of her somewhat annoying boyfriend who's a little bit like domineering.
He's
Um,
controlling. Yeah, you
he's
can tell.
controlling and he also uses money and he's like using, but she doesn't, she's like, she's not necessarily giving into it. She just kind of, she does push back, but, you know,
Like
the biggest,
he's doing things. I don't know if it's different in Thailand, but he's paying for her brother's tuition. Like he's
yeah,
doing
he's doing a
big
lot.
things and he's buying him a camera for his film class. Like maybe this isn't self-serving. Maybe he actually, but his attitude is a little haughty. So
There's a
he's
little quid pro quo there. He's like, I did this, so you were doing that. And
yeah.
he's using that, like even when he asks her brother Non about the camera, he's being a little bit like, oh, so do you like that? Like it's not, it does not feel it feels manipulative.
Yeah.
So
And the way that Non is reacting to him isn't like gratitude and friendly. It's kind of like nervous. Like when they have that scene together when Non comes home and Zan is there, like
right.
there's not like a happy reunion of these three people. It's there's a lot of baggage that's clearly I mean that's well acted then in that case, but there's just like awkward silences and weird stuff going on. Uh so but like we start this episode or with a lot of combat because it's like a reanimation scene with a character I think we haven't met yet named Jane, and she basically kills her
Yep.
boyfriend apparently.
Yep.
And then we have scenes of some of these characters who we get to know later, like Zan, and there's another guy Thorn who he does have some scenes with. And I was as soon as I saw those two guys, I'm like, well, they're way too handsome to die in the first episode.
Yep.
So I was like, they're gonna be fine. That's one of the Achilles heels of casting casting your leading men as being these like ethereally beautiful people. And then otherwise, yeah, and then they kind of fill out the ensemble with very normal looking people who are like, well, they're gonna die. And honestly, there's a very funny line in this episode from Prow, the long-haired girl with the hat, where she does a fourth wall breaking sort of thing where she's like, well, I guess we're all gonna die because whenever somebody does something stupid, it's the extras who get killed in the zombie movie. So she thinks of herself as an extra, which I thought was actually kind of hard on herself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that scene, but that was when they got to the library.
Oh yeah. She's definitely, downplaying her importance for
If
sure.
you call out yourself as an extra, does that make you more of a main character? Or
Yes, I
because
think
Prow
so.
actually has main character energy, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anyway.
And I think, you call it out like that, then obviously you're not an extra, but that's like me.
So
Uh,
yeah, we like you had said, we have these different groups. We get introduced to two other groups in addition to the two first groups we start out with. They actually get combined by the end of this episode. The two other
right.
groups were immediately much more distinguishable. And I thought
Yeah.
that the show actually did a better job. You kind of know these people. It's like the theater kids and the axe murderers
Yeah,
is what I
I
called
know.
them.
Yeah.
And
And
I
you could
felt
tell the kids because of the flowy poet shirt.
the flowy shirt, the walk, but then it turned out it wasn't theater, it was cheerleading that they were really
Yeah.
into, which I thought also was a pretty funny scene.
Yeah, it was.
I hope they don't all die, but there were at least three characters in that group who just were
Hmm.
wearing school uniforms with a tie, who were clearly just there to be killed. I mean, there's no way that they're not gonna die immediately, right?
Mm.
And then the axe murderer guys, it's just four jocks, maybe.
I
And
don't know if they're jocks or whatever, but in any case, they've got weapons.
they got weapons. They're covered in blood. They're introduced axe murdering a zombie, and then they just seem too confident and maybe a little bit sinister.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I'm giving, again, I'm going to reserve judgment until we see a little bit more of this, but right now it just feels, just to me, very derivative, of other things. And so I'm hoping that there will be other things that pop up in here that make it a little bit more interesting. But I also thought that, even like, again, I think we're really excited for the to see the second season of All of Us Are Dead. But
Which I read again, unofficial source, but it might be 2027 before we get to
oh
see that.
no, that would suck. Well, in any case, as I was watching it, it made me miss that show more, but I also was trying to be fair and not necessarily and look for things that made this a little different. And so I do
It's
think
just so difficult. Like, how
I
do you not
know,
compare this with
I
that?
know.
Because they're picking they're picking such similar elements. Like, oh, you're on a school campus and you have a giant group of kids who are not, really equipped for this.
And also like the shutdown of the city and the power and everything, and then they're going to send helicopters to a rooftop. I mean, even that element is in All of Us Are Dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a little weird. The one sort of difference in this is the involvement of the professor or that storyline where we see this in a flashback, but Neen and Non's mother has some kind of like disease or ailment, and it's something that has been affecting other people. I think we're meant to conclude that this outbreak is based upon this research cure, but there seems something like they haven't gotten into it yet, but there clearly seems to be something nefarious about the whole thing based upon the professor's cloak and dagger act. He tries to make this a positive thing that he's talking to Neen because she's so brilliant and he just wants to help her out and he knows that she doesn't have the money. He wants her to stay in the program. And so this is a very big carrot to get her to stay, which is that he'll make sure that her mother is in the study for this potential cure, and then make some allusion to the fact that the benefactor, capital B,
The patron, capital
patron or
P.
whatever, patron, slowly, whatever. He's like who we don't know who this is, but I have a feeling Zan knows who it is. Um, in
Oh
any
yeah,
case,
yeah. There was a good reaction shot from him where he's like, "Wait, you've spoken to the college director?
yeah.
Huh?"
So that it felt like there was something there. But anyway, like,
Maybe that's his dad.
yeah, maybe. But in any case, um, this is this is a plot point that I think we'll certainly find out more about, but it definitely feels like there's something bad happening. Like because he says something later, we see this little scene where he's talking to the patron, so we can assume, and basically says, "Oh, she has to make the decision herself." But I guess that doesn't happen because
Well, she has to think that it's her decision.
yeah, and he has some vial that he's supposed to be shooting into the mother, and he like instead breaks it all over his hand with blood and everything. But you could assume just based on his reaction that this is not a good thing he was about to do. So and I like so that is in. I'm curious to see where that goes.
Well, that's the sense you get. Like,
Yeah,
this is one of these characters, trope wise.
yeah,
He is doing the wrong thing, but he's a good guy at his core, I think is what we're supposed to
yeah,
believe about this dude.
yeah.
So whether or not he injected her with that stuff, I mean, he certainly looked like he was. There was one scene of him putting the syringe
It did,
in.
but then it looked like he had the whole thing in his hand, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
hard to say. There's also a scene between Thorne and Zan where they're smoking on the stairs outside school, and they're talking, and Thorne is watching the news. And he's like, "Oh, do you hear this about this heat wave? Man, lots of people died in Spain when there was a heat wave." And Zan's like, "Whatever, man. People die all the time. No big deal." And Thorne's like, "Maybe we should leave the country for a while. Let's go to the US. You can come stay with me. Bring your girlfriend." It's just the weirdest. Like, oh, there's a heat wave coming. Let's leave the country and go to another I mean, apparently he has a house in the US, so Thorne's well
Yep,
connected, I guess. I just thought that that was a very funny little exchange.
it was.
And apparently this heat wave is going to have something to do. And that was 6 months ago in the flashback. So perhaps this heat wave has been here and is here to stay. I will say one of the things I noticed about the zombie makeup, and it was quite apparent, like they weren't hiding this, was that all the zombies seem to have this pulsing organ on on their back.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is yet, but
I mean, it feels like either that's their Achilles upper middle back or
right.
something. But either way,
Right.
they all seem
And
to have it.
when we also saw when one of them is about to be taken out, like they put the metal pole through the neck and that doesn't seem to do anything. Because it doesn't kill them. He's still like kind of moving around.
Yeah, but I mean, if you follow the whole destroy the brain thing, you wouldn't expect that to kill a zombie given normal canon, right?
I guess so. So,
But yeah, that's in the earlier moments of the show, and everybody's really shocked by this development. Yeah, Zan definitely is feeling like a Solomon. Ning is feeling like a Anjo. I don't think there's a Chongsan. Maybe it's Yin. Maybe Yin is the Chongsan.
maybe.
Either way, it's a very strange choice to make this show years after all of us are dead, and it will have to survive being compared to it. And that so far, it's not quite at that level. Get on its level.
Right. But I'm willing to give it a shot and always excited to see new content. One thing I will say though is that this is a pretty massive cast. And I did see just in terms of the crowd of zombies running. I'm assuming it's like the same group of people, but they did a pretty good job of like those scenes and showing how overwhelming it would be, and the swarming that they do, I thought was pretty successful. Especially when they go and like seek out the speaker and things like that. So I thought that was pretty good. And then the other behavior. So the one thing is that is a little bit of the downfall of this group when they try to get to the library is the weird zombie in the tree. So I'm not sure why that one stayed up there versus running for the sound stimuli.
Yep.
So I wonder if that's going to pop up later, that there's something like maybe they just didn't get down in time, or I don't know. It just felt a little weird, or maybe that was something that they're going to do, that this is a different thing. Like maybe different zombies have different behaviors. And I also will say the idea that this poor woman with the broken ankle is zombie fodder. I was expecting that to be more of a plot point. I didn't know that they would take her out like so
Oh
quickly.
no, she that was telegraphed for me at
It
least. It was
was,
like
but
she is. I mean,
so
Prow even suggests feeding her to the zombies like very early on in the episode.
well, but I thought because they were telegraphing it so hard that
Yeah.
something would be a little different, but no, she absolutely is the fodder, and I'm sure she will run into her friend that was carrying her around, like at some point, and it will be traumatic, right?
Yeah. So that was Nan or Nan. Yeah, and she does look very she's a very distinctive looking zombie at the end with that orchid. We'll see what happens next. I don't think that they're gonna get rescued tomorrow morning from the top of the garage roof. I don't know what you think, but if they do, it would be a very short show.
Yeah, agree. So, so more to come. I wonder if we'll get some outside perspective, like in terms of like outside of the university, as we did in All of Us Are Dead, and it'll be interesting to see where they go with this. So, and each episode is about an hour long, although it looks like they get potentially a little shorter.
Here and only by like 10 minutes here and there, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we shall see what happens next. Pretty short episode today. But you know,
And that's rough. Like this was an hour of television that
and I can share that we had talked about potentially doing two episodes. We're like, oh no, there will be so much to cover, but we were wrong.
And it's still, and with at an hour long, like you don't want to bite off more than you can chew with one
Right.
of these kinds of shows. So I
Right.
think we should probably stick to that. And if after the second episode it appears that this is not going to be an issue, then we can
Move into
combine.
the 2 episode mode for
I'm
sure.
just wondering how much we're going to be back in flashback world. I think we have
Agreed.
to be a fair amount because that's where the origin of this thing is going to become clear,
Hmm.
not in present day.
Yep.
So we'll
And
be
they're
going back and
they're
forth.
teasing a few potential ideas. So I think we will hopefully more will be revealed in the next episode. So yeah.
And that's that, I guess. Come on back next time for Zomvivor episode 2. I thought this one actually had an episode title, but I've forgotten it already. It's in my notes, but I just closed that tab instead of looking at it, so that's not helping. But
Yeah.
we'll find out what the episode name is, and we'll, I'm sure, refer to that a lot next time we talk about it.
Yeah.
If you have seen Zomvivor and have thoughts that you're like, hey, you know what, this show is amazing, and you forgot to mention this or that, please let us know. Give us an email. We do like getting emails from our listeners. It's always fun to hear from you guys. Give
Yeah.
us a shout, reanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. And you can find the rest of our episodes online, reanimated.podbean.com.
And until next time, bye-bye. Thanks for listening.
Bye.